This LearnElectrics video looks at the final circuits section of the on-site guide, and in particular at the easy formula that can be used to adjust the cable length tables for different supply voltages. Recently, we've been asked a variety of questions around this subject. Things like, how do I use the tables in the on-site guide? What does that formula mean at the beginning of part 7? When do we use the formula and how does it work? And what are nominal voltages? And so on. This video is made for the Brown On-Site Guide Amendment 2, and Section 7 begins on page 73. If you're using the previous version, the Blue Book, you will need to start at page 63. Having said that, we should all be using the Brown Amendment 2 On-Site Guide now. Let's begin with the tables in Section 7 and how we use the so-called tabulated data from these tables. To understand Section 7 on final circuits and how to use the formula, you need to know how the tables work. Shown here is one of the pages from Table 7.1 number 2, and for each device type and each current rating, the table will show the maximum circuit length permitted. This is a maximum length, and other factors may alter the actual length possible. Circuit lengths in the tables are based on a nominal supply voltage of 230 volts AC. Different cable sizes will allow for different permitted maximum cable lengths, and we will look at this and what happens if the supply voltage is changed. Look at this example using the tables and the nominal supply of 230 volts. If a 16 amp type B circuit breaker, or CB, is installed in a radial circuit using 1.5 by 1 mm twin and earth cable and reference method 100, what would be the maximum permitted cable length? This is a TNCS earthing system, and a 30 mA RCD is installed for additional protection. By following the highlighted data, we can see that the table shows us that the maximum circuit length should not exceed 34 meters. The tables are full of useful information. If we use them correctly, they will guide us through selecting correct data for the circuit type. It will tell us the maximum voltage drop permitted and the assumed loads on each circuit, which will always be a little less than the breaker or fuse rating. Table 7.1 number 1 shows us a list of maximum assumed loads for different circuits, different breakers and fuses, and different circuit types. But we'll look at this very soon. And always consider maximum load and diversity when selecting any cable size or type. 3 circuit types have their own data in the table 7.1 number 2, and the start of each is shown with a short description in the table as shown here. This is a very useful line of information. In this case, it tells us it is a ring final circuit and the permitted voltage drop as a percentage of the nominal voltage. Then it lists all the appropriate device types and current ratings and gives the recommended conductor size or CSA for the line and earth conductors, as this will be the fault path. It tells us that the data is applicable to a distributed load. What is that? Simply a circuit where the sockets are spaced out around the building and each socket will use a small part of the total current. It will not all be used in one place. Then we have a radial final circuit. Again, there is a short introduction in the table. A radial final circuit can have a 5% voltage drop and will be what is called a terminal load. All the load is at one end of the circuit, perhaps 5 amps to the dedicated central heating boiler circuit, or, in the picture example shown here, the cooker at 32 amps. It could be the shower or the immersion heater, and so on. All the load is in one place, and the device type, current rating and CSA are also shown. Lighting circuits have their own entries too. In this case, it's a 3% voltage drop, and the load is classed as distributed. The lamps are distributed around the circuit, one in each room for example. The load is spread about. If the nominal supply voltage is different to the 230 volts, how can we decide the maximum length of a circuit? We must use a formula to do this for us, and we will look at this now. I've called it a correction formula. It corrects or adjusts the data in the tables to align with the new supply voltage, and this formula will calculate the maximum permitted cable length for voltages other than 230 volts nominal. Let's break down what the formula is telling us. You will see in the table below each of the values that we must enter in the formula. We can look at each of these terms and understand them. Nominal just means the name that we call it, 230 volts nominal, the name that we give to a supply voltage even if the actual measured voltage is different. It was introduced back in 1995 as a step towards harmonising voltage standards across Europe. UK voltages have a tolerance of 230 volts plus 10% to minus 6%. 230 volts nominal will be between 216.2 volts to 253 volts AC. U0 is pronounced U0. In this formula, it is the nominal voltage of the actual supply where the supply is not 230 volts nominal. As an example, U0 could be a nominal supply voltage of 200 volts, 277 volts, or some other number. 0.95 is the C-min factor, the factor that we use to make allowances for supply voltage fluctuations. The supply voltage can vary at any time of the day or night and can fluctuate from just a few minutes to several hours. We are mostly concerned with supply voltages that fall below the nominal values and ensuring that sufficient fault current will flow to cause effective operation of the breakers and fuses. This is the standard UK nominal voltage, even if we do measure 240 volts at the point of use. Table 7.1 number 2 shows maximum cable lengths for different circuits, calculated for us with a nominal voltage of 230 volts AC. We need this 230 to adjust the lengths for the new voltage. LT is the tabulated value of circuit length as shown in Table 7.1 number 2. Tabulated means simply that it is taken from a table. We need the tabulated circuit length in order to calculate the new actual length for the new voltage. LP is the new permitted length based on the data put into the formula, and LP is found by multiplying the tabulated length by the nominal voltage of the supply and then dividing by 230 volts, the nominal voltage used to create the tables. Then the C-min factor of 0.95 can be applied, and the answer will be LP, the new permitted maximum length of the circuit at the new voltage. We should do some examples of the formula in action to help with understanding. We will use the same table entry as before, but this time the nominal voltage has increased. It is now 277 volts. We are told that a 16 amp type B circuit breaker is installed in a circuit with a nominal voltage of 277 volts AC. The cable is 1.5 by 1 mm twin and earth, and the reference method is 100. A 30 mA RCD is installed in this TNCS system. What will the new maximum cable length be? This is a 277 volt circuit. All the other information supplied can be found in Table 7.1 number 2 as shown above. This tells us that the circuit length for a 230 volt nominal supply is 34 meters. Now we can put 34 meters into the formula. Let's work through this. Pause the video if you need to and follow along. The basic formula is shown, and the two values we need are LT, the tabulated length for 230 volts from the tables, and U0, the new nominal supply voltage. Put these into the formula and do the calculation. Done correctly, you should have about 38.9 meters, which will be rounded up to 39 meters. Notice that as the nominal voltage goes up, so does the permitted circuit length. Another example, and this time the new supply voltage goes down. We will use the same data from the tables so you can see the changes. The same 16 amp type B circuit breaker is installed in a circuit, but this time with a nominal voltage of just 200 volts AC. The cable is 1.5 by 1 mm twin and earth, and the reference method is 100. A 30 mA RCD is installed in this TNCS system. So what is the new permitted circuit length? Here are the calculations. Again, pause the video and follow it through. Now the maximum length is just 28 meters. The nominal supply voltage is reduced, and so has the length. So we should start with finding the maximum length for a 230 volt circuit from table 7.1 number 2. Then we can apply the formula using the new nominal voltage. If the voltage is above 230 volts, the permitted length will increase, and if it's below 230 volts, the permitted length will decrease. Let's do another with different data, a ring circuit this time. A ring final circuit is protected by a 32 amp type B RCBO and wired in 2.5 by 1.5 twin and earth cable using reference method C, clipped direct. This is a TNCS system with 30 mA RCDs installed as additional protection. If the nominal supply voltage is 200 volts, what is the maximum permitted circuit length? Here is the relevant data from table 7.1 number 2, the tabulated data. The tabulated length for a nominal 230 volts is 106 meters. Now put this information into the formula to calculate the length for our new nominal voltage of 200 volts. And this is the formula and the working out. Try this yourself. Find the data in the tables and do the calculation. The nominal voltage is reduced, so the permitted length also reduces. Why does the formula work? Well, this is a very simple drawing and an even simpler explanation. Look at drawing A. If we had a 50 meter immersion heater circuit protected by a 16 amp type B breaker at 230 volts, that breaker would need a fault current of 80 amps in order to trip in 0.4 seconds. Now at drawing B, if we increase the nominal supply voltage to 277 volts, an increase of 20%, then Ohm's law tells us that 96 amps will flow along the cables during a fault. But the breaker only needs 80 amps. Move on to drawing C, and with a nominal voltage of 277 volts, we can, if we wish, increase the cable length by 20% to 60 meters. This is a 20% increase in cable resistance. Longer cables mean more resistance, so the current flowing will reduce. Now, Ohm's law tells us that the current flowing through the longer cable will be just 80 amps. But this is enough to trip the MCB, so our circuit protection is back to where it should be. The circuit is correctly protected and the cable length can be increased. Reducing the nominal voltage will have the opposite effect. Again, at A, we have the 16 amp type B MCB that needs 80 amps of fault current to trip in 0.4 seconds. At B, the nominal voltage has been reduced to 180 volts, and the potential fault current is now only 62 amps in this example, not enough to trip the MCB in 0.4 seconds. At C, we've reduced the circuit length to 40 meters, and now a possible 80 amps of fault current can flow. This enables the MCB to trip within the required time for safety. Table 7.1 number 2 gives guidance on maximum permissible circuit lengths for a variety of circuit types, breaker and fuse types, and current ratings. Maximum assumed loads are given in table 7.1 number 1, and tables 7.1 number 3 and table 7.1 number 4 show the different installation methods employed. Remember that with any installation, individual circumstances and constraints should be taken into consideration when following the advice offered in the on-site guide. In addition to nominal voltage changes, the factors that will affect circuit length most significantly are voltage drop and ZS requirements, and both of these topics have been covered in previous LearnElectrics videos. Thank you for watching, it really is appreciated, and we hope that you found this video useful. Please subscribe to our channel to get access to all of our videos, and remember to click on notify to be sure of not missing our next video. And you will find even more information, videos and help on our website at LearnElectrics.com. And don't forget that you can also type in LearnElectrics, all one word, into the YouTube search bar to go directly to our channel at any time from any computer. We are constantly adding new videos to our channel, so don't miss the next one. And once again, thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again very soon.